think for the off season, particularly during the Christmas holiday and that month where we don't have any training on campus, the athletes did a really nice job of pushing their training and like working in small groups. I know based on what they came back at that they were much more prepared to take on a higher volume and higher intensity as we hit the ergs. Erg season went really well. We have just an incredible number of PRs, people on the record board in February, which usually is, you don't see those big records until April, May. So that's another big push we've had. Then it allowed us to really go into our training trip in the spring with a focus on training, and rather than trying to keep everybody in a not necessarily a healthy state. Everyone went in a healthy state. No one was on a stroke count or in or out of the boat. So across the board, we covered about 230K rowing, another 20K with our run to practice. Going to Alabama, we really were able to focus on the training. We had everyone was healthy, everyone was in good shape, so we were able to cover about 230K rowing, which is probably about 50K more than we did last year. That's 120 miles of rowing in a week. That's going to be a pretty solid training week. Had some good race piecework against Bama at the end of the week, and I liked a lot of how we approached it. When you're at 220K in and you're going to do 5x2K, you're a little gassed. So they weren't the fastest times we pulled or we will pull, but how we approached it, how we raced each piece was good, and it's something to build off of. Yes, Lily now has both the top spot in the 6K and the 2K. So when you talk about development, Lily's always been someone who has pushed hard and tried to really push herself to a higher level. I think the difference coming into this year is she was a lot smarter about increasing her volume. She kind of jumped in a little bit too hard, a little too intense the first couple years, and suffered some setbacks with overuse, injuries and slowdowns. So I think now she's really been able to train consistently for a full year and a half, and she's seen some really big gains in this last 2 or 3 months, because that training is finally, the base is big enough for her to really start building the peak up. And it's showing off. She hasn't quite broken 7 yet, but she will break it before she leaves this summer. Brooke was a basketball player for most of her, life, up until now. She transitioned to rowing, I think it was spring of her junior year. She started rowing kind of as a fitness benefit, partly because her family is really good friends with Lily's family, and Lily was kind of talking to her and her family about that opportunity. So we brought her in for a visit last winter, and she was just really kind of getting into rowing, and had decent times, but then about halfway through her first spring, she pulled a 720, and we were like, ooh, this is good. And then she trained really nicely over the summer. She committed to rowing over, sharing her time with other sports, and I think it's really paying off in her training. And there's still a lot of road there, but she has the talent and her strength, her height, and where she's at currently in her rowing journey, very early, that she can do some really big things with a couple more years of good training. I mean, number one, we're fitness way faster than last year's team. Our scores are way faster, so base level, raw, is much better. We've still got, I would say we're not quite rowing as well as we did this time last year, but that's for me, that's okay. We've been on the water for a couple more weeks at this time last year, so we aren't anywhere near the speed we need to be, but we can keep a very focused eye on May. And some of the things, some of these races are going to be a little bit of, to be honest, just practice on who are we when racing, how do we race, how do we keep our brains and minds in the right spot, and not row to the race, but race how we row. So We were originally going to do a triple duel, like a Friday afternoon, Saturday race in Philadelphia with a couple other teams, and the head coach of Northeastern, who runs the Doc Hosey, he reached out to them and then to us because they needed a few more teams to fill it out. So we don't get to see Northeastern very often in the regular season. So it was really easy. The other team said yes, and we jumped right in. Because it'll be theoretically one less race, but it'll be 4 times as many teams. So it's a 12-team race rather than 3 duels. So we'll get a good chance to be on the Cooper, where we're going to see, have conference championships. See, I think 3 out of the 4 conference members, as well as some other people in our region who are pretty quick, and get a chance to see even some top 20 competition in Penn and Rutgers. Like, Rutgers is really fast right now, so I think it's a really good chance to go out, see how they're doing it, and try and do it. This is a weird thing to say in March, but it's going to be really hot. I think the predicted, as of the last time I looked, was right around 80 on Saturday. So that's a pretty significant difference than what we've been rowing in. So we're gonna just have to be really smart about our hydration with that. Partly sunny, so obviously, I know it sounds dumb, but in a two-stage race, sunscreen in the morning is really important. And then there is going to be a west-southwest wind at 10 to 13, so that's a quartering tailwind. So times are going to be pretty quick, and it might get a little choppy towards the finish, but with the direction on it, the course runs almost exactly east-west. So the little bit of south will take a lot of that off because it's such a small waterway. I think we just need to go out and race full speed, and we'll see where we fall after that.